Hey CK, this is pie. I'm going to make a pie dough completely from scratch, and then I'll show you how I make a pie from that pie dough. But first, we assemble the pie dough. It is a grand total of 5 ingredients, and they are right down here. You can see. This is 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, ½ a teaspoon of salt, ½ a cup of vegetable shortening, Crisco, 1½ sticks, that's 12 tablespoons of butter, and 7 tablespoons of cold water. Now, the butter and the shortening, the shortening gives it flakiness, the butter gives it a tender loveliness to it. You want both of these in here in some amount. I actually have recipes that call for as little as 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening, some as much as a cup. So whatever. So all this is going to go together. ½ a teaspoon of salt, the butter, that in there, the vegetable shortening, one nice big glob of vegetable shortening there, and the water. And now we do this really, really complicated. I'm going to use my hands. I'm just going to mash it. Yeah, it's kind of nasty, but that's okay. It's all sort of weird and clubby. Now what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to take the butter between my fingers and I'm going to squeeze it like that so that it sort of comes apart. I'm going to take each time I find some butter, I'm going to squeeze it apart. What I'm trying to do is squeeze the butter down into really small chunks. They say pea-sized chunks. Yeah, I'm sure some of you are going to giggle madly at that. But it's pea-sized chunks. And I'm just going to keep squeezing this dough until the butter is in pea-sized chunks. And there's the vegetable shortening in there too. That's 5 chunks. And I continue to squeeze. This is coming together fairly nicely. As you can see, I'm just squeezing. There's nothing magic to how I'm doing this. I'm not following some particular method for kneading it or squeezing it. I'm just squeezing it. And this is starting to become a complete coherent mass, which is a good thing for a dough. And that sort of outer layer is getting incorporated. There we go. It's a little flaky. You could possibly add some more water to this, but I'm actually pretty happy with that. This is pie dough. I mean, we're here. We're ready to go. You could add some sugar to this. That would be fine. Depends on what you like. But that's actually pretty coherent. Now, there's some butter in that I'm going to squeeze off. And squeeze this a little more. And that is pie dough. Now, this is enough for 2 pies, so I'm going to just carefully pull this in half, trying to get them as equal as possible. Use my hand, that's about right. And then squeeze this into a full dough. Both of these will get wrapped in plastic wrap and then put in the fridge. They need to chill for, I would say, at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour, before you try rolling them out. There you go. And the dough is out of the fridge. Repeat, the dough is out of the fridge. I've just removed this from the refrigerator, and here's how I like to roll out my dough. Just put it down here. I got it on a piece of wax paper, and I put another piece of wax paper right on it, and then I start to roll. Now, this is going to be a little rough to begin with, but it should roll out pretty quick. And just keep rotating the wax paper and then roll it out. If you try to do this, you'll find it's going to be really hard to keep it circular. So this is a lot easier on the dough and easier on you. And one nice thing about using the wax paper is that the wax paper's width is about as wide as you want the final crust. So that's about perfect. Alright. Now this goes into a pie shell. Take that off. Turn off a bit there. There. Oop. Alright. And flip. It will want to tear, but there we go. And just trim off any excess, and you can use any of the excess that's trimmed off to patch up any larger bits, like that. And here's your pie dough, and this will go in and make for a pie. For apple pie, I have got 3 Gala apples and 2 Granny Smith apples sliced. Watch episode 1 to find out how to do that. I'm going to add, with 4 teaspoons of lemon juice. That keeps them from being discolored. I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of sugar, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice, another 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of flour. Right in here. I'm going to stir that around. Make it all nice and mixed. That's what's going to give it that wonderful apple pie taste. Goes in there. Mix it around. Make sure it's completely coated on everything. You want as much of that mixture on the apples as possible, and look for apple slices that are sticking together and separate them. If that's more surface, you can get the sugar mixture on. And once that's nice and incorporated, there we go. And once that's nice and incorporated, put that in your pie shell. I'm going to bake this uncovered. There we go. And now I can actually tamp this down a bit. Well, sort of push the slices down a little bit so they're not standing all on end. That looks pretty much perfect. Into the oven.